तू कौन है? क्या औकात क्या तेरा?
कोई दूसरा मेरे को बताएगा मैं कौन है।
क्योंकि अपना टाइम आएगा, तू नंगा ही तो आया है, क्या घंटा लेकर जाएगा? अपना टाइम आएगा।
Gully Boy is one of the most successful Bollywood films of the year, grossing an admirable 220 crores at the box office. It isn't a horror mainstream movie, though. It's filled with captivating scenes, memorable characters, great performances, and a well written script. The Zoya Akhtar directed feature follows the story of aspiring street rapper Murad, played by actor Ranveer Singh. Although the story revolves around him, the character I like most is his love interest Safina, played by actress Alia Bhatt. Not in a weird way though, that's just. She's a very well written character, determined, knows what she wants, and most importantly, unapologetically herself.
सफीना, तुम्हें कुकिंग आती है?
नहीं, लेकिन अगर सब कुछ सही रहा एक दिन मैं आपका लिवर ट्रांसप्लांट कर सकती हूँ.
For me, and I'm sure many others too, her introduction sequence was one of the best scenes of the film. The scene is a great example of how the language of cinema can be used to tell stories effectively. So let's get into breaking down the scene.
There were a couple of things we wanted to say. That these two are together. It's a secret relationship, and they both in college. I mean, they both go to different colleges or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is where this is a meeting spot. Now, without having to say anything, you don't need to say anything. It's just quite simple. And what is fun to do it is to treat it like a boy sees girl for the first time scene.
Like my good friend Zoya just mentioned, they had to establish these points through this scene. But to make it more interesting, they treated it like a boy meets girl scene. Now, I could list out the various shots they used in the scene. The established shot, the medium long track shot, yada yada yada. But that would be stupid. I mean, who would spend hours recording and editing that boring shit? Instead, we can first watch a clip of the scene and then talk about the Kuleshov effect.
अब आप शाम का कोरियर पिकअप कर लेना, आज ही जाना.
The first thing in the scene we understand as an audience is in recognizing the two central characters. But how do you show a connection between two separate entities on film? Well, you show two shots of them in order. I know, that's fairly obvious, but it's in understanding these basic ideas and principles that we can employ them fully in our own works of cinema. In this case, the principle being the very often cited Kuleshov effect. It's a film editing effect demonstrated by Soviet filmmaker Lev Kuleshov in the 1910s and 1920s. I feel like I butchered his name. It is a mental phenomenon by which viewers derive more meaning from the interaction of two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. Yes, that was taken from Wikipedia, and here's my good friend Alfred Hitchcock to elaborate on this further.
Now, the third way is what one might call pure cinematics, the assembly of film, and how it can be changed to create a different idea. Now we have a close-up. Let me show what he sees. Let's assume he saw a woman holding a baby in her arms. Now we cut back to his reaction to what he sees, and he smiles. Now what is he as a character? He's a kindly man. He's sympathetic. Now, let's take the middle piece of film away, the woman with the child, but leave his two pieces of film as they were. Now we'll put in a piece of film of a girl in a bikini. He looks, girl in a bikini, he smiles. What is he now? The dirty old man. He's no longer the benign gentleman who loves babies. That's the difference. That's what film can do for you.
And that's one of the most simple yet useful tools in cinema. Shot of a person, cut to what they're looking at, and then back to a reaction shot. Coming back to the film, it's not only because of the sequence of shots are we able to piece in information. The audience is able to pick up on the subtext of the scene, understanding what's neither being shown nor heard. Cinema watchers as a whole have matured over 100 plus years of flocking to theatres. We know the characters must most likely be or will be romantically involved, either from the promotions of the film or the casting of these particular high profile actors, or perhaps from similar patterns in other movies. Even though we are right about this much, we don't necessarily know the dynamics of their relationship, and by making us second guess it, the filmmakers have spared the viewers from an otherwise boring, predictable scene. With some good pacing and music cues that slightly influence our thinking, the filmmakers are able to engage our thought processes and involve us in the scene. All of that without any dialogue. And I must say, that's pretty darn good cinema.